Recording in progress.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the October 9th, 2025 Public Works Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Tice is absent. Alderwoman Gold. Present. Alderman Erger.
Here.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Here. Just want to move on to the approval of the agenda. Can we go ahead and approve by acclamation?
Yes.
I will do it. Moving on to citizen comment. I do not see anybody in the room. Anybody online?
There's no one online.
Good. Move on to reports by committee, chair and alderman. I have no report. Alderwoman Goad,
No report.
Alderman Erger.
No report.
All right, move right on into department reports. We'll start with Public Works, and I think we have Dan online.
Yes, I am. I guess you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The first item I know that's on here is it says updates regarding light poles on Salem. So I had gone out there, taken a look at them. There's only two, so the lights that Ameren calls out would be B as in Brentwood 476 and B as in Brentwood 489. 489 is connected. I'll just have to confirm that it does work. It is connected. That one's just about south or even with Barnstable. The other one I know is not connected because I can see the wires coiled up there, and that's B476. So that one's directly opposite of 2462 Salem. So I put in a ticket this morning. They're supposed to go out there and take a look at it and let us know what needs to be done, like how soon it'll be connected. So I think that takes care of those two that were the concern.
Well, Dan, did you notice the one pole that was snapped in half and there were cut up portions sitting next to it?
Yeah, I'd asked her about that, and it's my understanding that they'll pick that up when they fix the other light.
Okay, but there was never a light mounted on that pole?
Apparently, they moved it over. The one that they moved over that they're still connecting is B476. It's going to need to have the tree trimmed because you can barely see it poking out past the canopy of the tree.
Okay.
But I think the one did break off. They put a new pole in. I know that the other one, the first one I mentioned, the 489, it's completely done and it has a tag back on it. So if you go out there, you'll see the B489 on the side of the pole.
Okay.
And then switching gears to the rest of the report, McKnight Road, I know that the board approved the agreement at Monday's meeting. So that'll be signed by both TAPCO and the city. And then as soon as I hear back from TAPCO, we'll figure out when they're going to do the work. I know I reached out to Ladue. Ladue said that they're fine with what we're doing. Just let them know whenever it's actually scheduled to be done because they'd like to see it. 288 Hanley Industrial Court, we staff coordinated the roof repairs, so that's sealed over the office roof. There's another roof estimate that we're waiting on. That's to improve some gutters and downspouts. That way it positively drains away from the building. And then lastly, there's a backflow device and the fire suppression system. Those were tested. The fire suppression system, part of it passed. The antifreeze pump system did not pass. And based on the age of the heads on the suppression system, they recommend replacing those. So we're waiting on a quote to figure out what that cost would be. Regarding the backflow device, that did pass, so we're good. Usually those get tested every year, so far so good on that. And then there is a stormwater bid package 1. We're meeting with Gonzalez to go over the bid documents. There's an RFQ for the traffic engineering services. That draft is written. It'll be circulated for comments from staff, and then it'll be advertised. And then just a quick heads up, the Strassner Drive decorative light, the electrician said that should be, the last of the parts should be arriving this month, and then they'll get that scheduled to be replaced. The other lights do work. And then staff did meet with an electrician. We're waiting on a quote for Manchester Road there's an electrical panel and a light. I know that they looked inside the panel. They're giving us an idea of what that's going to cost. Most of the wiring, they said, looked fine. It's just the damage is mostly superficial to the case. And the last thing I know we talked about was sewer lateral program. I'm working on figuring out what the annual costs are, for the city as well as the residents, and seeing if maybe there could be a change and bring that to the next committee meeting.
Is that it?
Oh, there is one more thing. It's not in your report. MSD sent us a reminder. So there's the MSD Trash Bash that's scheduled for October 25th. It's Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. They want folks to register at Open Space STL like they've done in the past, and then that'll help them figure out how many t-shirts they need to have and things of that nature. So I know that the communications manager will be posting something about that, but that's, 2 weeks from this Saturday.
Any questions for Dan? Dan, just one. What's the status on our street sweeper?
Woody said they're the vendor that we took it to. We purchased it through. They said that the fan housing was defective or slightly warped, so they replaced that. They think they'll have it finished up tomorrow, and then we should be able to pick it up at the beginning of next week. As soon as we hear like an exact date that we'll pick it up, then we'll send that to Michelle Boyer so that communications can post something about when we anticipate getting back on track with street sweeping, since we missed this week and probably will miss the beginning of next.
All right. I guess that's it. Thank you, Dan.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to planning and development. Whitney?
Good evening. Okay. So the building division for the month of September, there were 196 new building permits and 800 inspections. Code enforcement had 15 new cases and 13 inspections. On October 14th, we have our commercial design guidelines public open house at the Community Center in Room A. The Planning and Zoning Commission meeting met last night and did the first review of the KinderCare conditional use permit and site development plans at 8109 through 8111 Manchester Road. That was continued to the October 29th Site Plan Subcommittee. Next week we have our Architectural Review Board, and on October 16th to review 2 projects, and on October 23rd we have our Board of Adjustment.
Whitney, when I take it at our next meeting, we'll start back on the code update. As far as, we've got the bill out there, and I'm just kind of wondering how, when we finally get some of the exceptions that we've voiced, or maybe other people have voiced, how that gets incorporated into that bill.
Yes, we can. We've talked about coming back at the next meeting to talk about any updates. We have not heard from the Home Builders Association, so those are still up until the December 15th, which is the second reading and hopefully adoption. We would be taking public comment or suggestions up till that point too. So.
Questions? Yes.
I would hope that at the Board of Aldermen meeting, when it will have its final reading and second reading, perfect into ordinance form, that there will actually be a presentation about the entirety of it, because that was not done at the last meeting. Was it?
Yeah.
It
yes,
was?
that was. Yeah, we gave a PowerPoint presentation at the.
At the Board of Aldermen meeting?
Yes.
John,
okay.
yeah, John offered.
Offered, but he didn't do it. Right?
He gave us the
offered.
option.
Yeah.
We had already
Covered
yeah.
at this meeting. I just think
Yeah,
for
so-
the public's sake, that
Yeah.
needs to be done.
Yeah, so we would do that at that meeting too. Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree with that, like right before the final vote, just so people
Yeah.
in the public are aware that
they're probably not remembering the 90-day gap. So,
Right, no.
Yeah.
No, we understand that. So, yeah, we would do a presentation then, too. Yeah.
Good call.
Okay.
Thank you, Whitney. Move on to our Parks and Recreation Department. Eric, you have a report?
Just a couple things for Parks and Recreation. Obviously, we kind of typically do a wrap up of Brentwood Days at the October Public Works meeting, and obviously the event didn't end the way we wanted to, but hopefully you guys were able to come down Friday night. We were real excited about the way Friday night ran. Would have loved to have more people, but the people who were there and who we talked to said that they thought it was going really well. They liked the community aspect of the event, so. I think the changes we've made last 2 years have really kind of kept Brentwood Days more of a community event than more of a regional attraction. And some of the things we did as well, kind of like some of the different activities. We had pony rides, we had a sustainable theme at our tent, and had this kind of really fun thing that our marketing person did a kind of a tree on a chalkboard, and then kids to get their light up bracelet had to come over and write how they're sustainable. It was about 50 different ways that the kids spell the word recycle, which was kind of fun. We got to watch that along. My favorite one was a gentleman who said that he will return to dust when he dies. That's how he's going to be sustainable. I gave him a wristband for that too. So, some of those things we thought went really, really well. We're excited about Saturday as well. We thought, when talking to Chief Burney, who was in our contact with the National Weather Service, he kept saying that, hey, it looks like this system's going to go south of us, it's going to miss us. 5 minutes later, we just got pummeled. And then talking to him, it's like, no, it looks like we're in the clear now. Everything's going to go north. We should be okay. And then that second round came through. And at that point, that's when we really got started worried, maybe not so much about weather, but how it affected the fairgrounds. So the standing water, we had to close off basically from our tent all the way to the exit. So we had to kind of bring everyone through the entrance. Fortunately, the entrance also had standing water because that's one of the lower spots in the park. And so between that and a lot of mud around the rest of the park, we put down, I think, 20 rolls of hay, and kind of went through our stock there. We stocked up just in case we were going to get rain, and we went through all of it. And in talking to Chief and the National Weather Service, they thought there was going to be another round at 6:30. And our fear was that comes, we're not getting anyone off. All those vendors are going to be stuck, their vehicles, their equipment, carnival rides are going to be stuck. So we kind of had that gap, and we're like, maybe this is the best thing to do. And so that's what we did. Murphy's Law, as soon as you cancel something, the rain went north of us. The one that was supposed to hit didn't hit. But, we weren't the only one to cancel. The balloon race got canceled. The Webster Jazz Festival, which was on asphalt, canceled. And if we were on concrete asphalt, we would have probably stayed open. We just said, okay, we know that one's coming. We have a 6:30 coming, but after that, we should be okay. And so being on grass, and specifically in that sports complex, has been damaged throughout the years. The Brentwood Days kind of put us in that situation. So we're excited about what we're going to do next year. I mean, we'll still kind of do what we talked about this year. We thought we really had a nice event going, and look forward to doing some more of that. With that, we've been kind of cleaning up after Brentwood Days. I kind of mentioned that staff has put on 150 cubic yards of dirt so far to kind of spread out all the low areas that were damaged from the carnival rides coming on and off the fields, all the vehicles that come on the field, including that with 40 bags of seed, 40 bags fertilizer. So just the material cost is about, will exceed $15,000. It's pretty much in line from last year, mainly because we had the same sort of damage. If it hadn't rained with the amount of the drought that we had prior leading up to that, we probably would have been okay. So it had some low spots we would have had to fix, especially that pathway where the carnival came on and off wouldn't have been as severe, though. It would have just been a little bit compacted and then bring that back up. But our staff does a pretty good job of trying to get that ready to go, and we'll have it ready to go for the spring. Any questions about that? Yes.
How have the wristband refunds gone for Saturday? Has that been really well received? Did most people take credit, or did they end up asking for a check?
It's been posted multiple times. We sent an email out to everyone. Our staff was a little concerned because while we say that we need to get email addresses for everyone, we're not quite sure that when people come and do stuff that we gather all that stuff. But we had all but 8 email addresses. So email addresses went out to everyone. We did about 518 specific refunds of multiple, or one wristband up to, I think the highest was 6. It's a little bit over $10,000. We've got about 30 people have asked for a check refund. Everyone else has kept it on their account. It doesn't mean that a year from now, if they realize, oh, I still have money on the account, I'm never going to use it, we'll still offer them a refund. We'll be able to cut them a check at that point. But so far, so good.
Awesome.
The other thing that happened is obviously we weren't able to have the drone show. In talking to them, they were also concerned about another powder rain that they wouldn't have been able to launch from where they're at. So one of the things we talked the day of was that they were offered up be able to reschedule the performance. And so we're talking about how we could do it. Typically they want you to do things like that by the end of the year. So we kind of thought about the holiday party. Maybe that'd be a really nice way to kind of end the holiday party. Kind of a new element, maybe we could even change it to a theme. So we talked to them and said, hey, here's what we'd like to do, December 6th, maybe a holiday theme, understanding that there's probably some time and effort to change your show. What do you guys think? And so they gave us a number of options, like, look, you can use the same program. And the program was very much set for Brentwood Days Sustainability, would still be a great show, maybe not quite as dramatic during a holiday season. If we did that, it'd be no charge. They could modify the program, and they gave us a quote about $5,000 to take the program that we had, change it, and then make it a holiday theme. And so I was like, completely understand. What if we said, hey, we'd really like to do a holiday theme, but we'll use that same show next year. So you're still only programming 2 shows in 2 years. We're hoping maybe they'd work with us on that. And they said, well, what we could do is we could reschedule your current program for next year. And then if you want to do, we could commission a new show with holiday theme. And they gave us the same rates that we have for Brentwood Days, which was interesting. Got that right before staff meeting, went to staff meeting, and Bull and Michelle or both were like, so could we just reschedule and not pay anything for next year and not do anything for the holiday party? And yes, that is correct. So what we could do is just reschedule our show that we scheduled this year for next year, and we wouldn't have that expenditure for Brentwood Days 2026. That makes the most sense to us. And so that would be our recommendation, is just reschedule the same show we had this year for next year, and we will have paid for it a year in advance.
I love that idea. We incurred a lot of cost. I think it was the right thing to do to refund the wristbands. It was, a good move, the right thing to do for folks, but it also means we have a lot of costs this year that we're not recovering. So if we can offload some of our expenses to next year, that might be a nice thing to do.
Yeah, I would agree.
Recommendation from us?
I think typically you guys usually vote, just a quick voice vote, that yes, that's what you guys want to do, and we'll follow through.
They want to make that?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Great, thank you very much. And last is wristband sales. We kind of talked about it. Very similar to last year, we sold 702 wristbands. We were selling wristbands all the way up to about 3 o'clock on Saturday. So people were, I think, waiting to see what the weather was doing coming in, say, okay, maybe we'll go back out there. So I think that's why we're a little bit below what we were last year. But I think like last year where we had 93% of our sales the week of, we had 89 this year. I think we had a couple, like the school district came early this year. They actually went the week of Brentwood Days last year. They usually buy a few wristbands for some of their students. So that's kind of the big difference there. So that, and, because we continue to hear that, that is expensive. It's expensive to buy those wristbands. I did go through and do some research on other municipalities that run festivals and fairs. Doesn't mean I found all of them. I think I found most of the ones I know about, and try to do research over some others. And what you see is that we are the cheapest of anyone out there. So Arnold Days, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they make you pay $1 per ticket or 24 for 20, kind of like what we do. It's 3 to 6 tickets per ride, so $3 to $6 per ride. And the only time you get a wristband is for $25 on Sunday. And typically, you'll see that in a lot of places, and that's because Sunday's usually a little bit less crowded. It's a way to try to attract people down to the carnival and get people to come. So Baldwin Days is $30 per day. Eureka, again, the $20 for Sunday. That's the one that was equal to us. But again, they only do that on that one day. Manchester, 25. O'Fallon, $25 in advance or 35 on site. The county fair is $25. That includes carnival rides. Suncrest, which is Sunset Hills and Crestwood, $25 in advance, 30 in day event, and then Webster Grove is 35. So I know people still are unhappy go from free to something, but again, we are still cheaper than any other municipality fair out there. Church fair too, honestly. I didn't put all the churches down, but we did a lot of research on, church carnivals, things like that. A lot of those in St. Louis, and they're all 25, 35 per day. That's more for information than anything else.
Yep. Any questions, concerns? I guess while we got you, well, let's move into Sustainability
Great.
Commission.
So the big thing about sustainability, the update was that we kind of wrapped up Sustainable September. It was the first year we kind of did something. In working with the Sustainability Commission, there was a lot of things people were talking about. Hey, what can we do? What can, different programs, things like that. And we're like, well, if we wrap it all into a month, we love alliteration in Parks and Recreation, so Sustainable September made sense. And especially with Brentwood Days, it's one of our bigger events. We could really kind of highlight sustainability there as well. And so we did a lot of things throughout the month. Obviously, the highlight for most people were the goats. They did a great job. If you saw the before and after pictures, they went to town. We had 9 of them. Our thought was to name them after each alderman and the mayor, but Bolo wouldn't let me do that. But they had a great time. People really enjoyed it, and it's something we'll continue to do probably year after year. They did a very small section just because we wanted to see how it kind of worked. And honestly, it wasn't very expensive. I think it was less than $3,000 for them to do that, for be out there for 2 weeks and do all that. And it's a great way to kind of highlight a sustainable way of maintaining landscaping. And so now our staff is going to that area, making sure that we kill anything else that's out there, pull up any big stuff like the root balls and things like that, and then planting it with appropriate stuff that should be there. So we'd like to do that. I'd like to do that year after year, and if we continue the Sustainable September, I think that kind of be a highlight each year. We also did a Black Cream stream cleanup. We did the Plant a Tree Day where we gave away 40 trees, and just some other things that we did throughout the month. So we liked it. We thought it was great. It was supposed to culminate with this wonderful drone show at Brentwood Days. I'm incredibly excited about it. I will hold on to my excitement until next year, and we'll still do it. It's a good thing. It's basically, it highlights what we do, has an eagle that kind of floats or flies from scene to scene to kind of bring in the Brentwood feel, and we're excited about that. So then the other thing is the Washington University EV charging depot. So the members of the Sustainability Commission toured Washington University's new EV fast charging depot. It was pretty incredible to see what they do. Gave us a lot of ideas of things we could do in the future. And more than anything else, again, it's a contact. Phil Valco, who is Assistant Vice Chancellor, was willing. He said, hey, I'm willing to offer up anything, our RFP, RFQs, the different vendors we talk to. So he can be an incredible resource if we want to move forward in the future. One of the things we saw, one of the highlights was seeing that they have an electric shuttle. And so we're starting to look at, since the Magic Bus is being scheduled for replacement next year, see if that's feasible. Haven't been able to track down a price yet. See if it's within our budget. If it's within our budget, great. If it's exorbitant above our budget, we'll maybe budget that into our next replacement. Put that in the equipment replacement plan, so that way we have it ready for the next time. Or maybe we could even do something else. We'll see once we kind of come together with all that. But what was really interesting is seeing that and seeing maybe what we could do in that new garage, and maybe be able to put a couple chargers, whether inside, outside, how that would work, and kind of go from there. So it was a good day, and we learned a lot. So
Did they build that facility from the ground up? Or was
They did. They had the facility. They bought the facility, and they were able to kind of, it's basically a big warehouse area, so they're able to kind of take that and kind of turn it into what they wanted.
retrofit it for the?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions for Eric?
Great.
Eric,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Move on to our consent agenda. We have the minutes from August and September meeting. If there's no changes to the minutes, can we just do it by acclamation again? We have no old business. We'll move on to new business. And I believe, Whitney, you have an ordinance or a bill regarding the removal of trees in the public right-of-way?
Sorry. So over the past several months, not several months, but we've had a few residents or developers who've removed trees in the public right-of-way without knowing that those are not their trees, they're city trees. So we really don't have any fine that would actually, that we could have them pay. They have offered to pay the city for those trees. However, if we move to court procedures, the maximum fine would be $500. And some of the trees could be much more expensive than that. And while we can't do a fine, we can have a fee to to let them know in advance that they would have to reimburse the city for the cost of removal of any tree in the public right-of-way. So we're basing it off of what MSD would provide, which is a minimum cost of $225 per tree, and it's based upon the inches diameter of that tree that is being requested to remove. So we are just wanting to get, if you want us to proceed with that, we can do so and take that, yes.
Question. So I have a feeling there's a few neighbors that might be very pro tree removal of a select tree. So if they were to see this, would they say, I'd love to remove that tree, I pay you $250 and you take away the tree? Is that what this is, or is it like a fine on top of that? Like
It's actually, no, if you want to remove this tree, you have to pay us the value of that tree, and then we would look at it. If we think you can remove it, then you would have to remove it yourself.
Okay, so the individual, I was thinking $250 sounds like the deal of a
You're thi-
lifetime
you're-
for tree removal.
You're thinking in the right way, and I think
Yeah.
Eric should probably address that.
Yeah, and that's 225 per diameter with a minimum of 225. So an inch that is 15 to 20 inches could be like six times 225, which I won't do math in my head, but
There are trees, and Eric, please step up. There are trees in the right-of-way, you're right. Sweet gum trees,
Yeah,
where
there's a few people,
would prefer to remove them, if not
Yeah.
poison them so that they die ultimately.
So the city has a tree policy and procedures manual. And in that manual, we state specifically that we will not remove a tree unless it's sick or a hazard to home or property or people. So we've had people in the past who basically wanted just to take down a tree because gumballs are probably the most popular of those. And we won't allow them to do that. Now, there have been ones who have then been said, forget them, I'm going to cut it down. They bring out a tree company, and then all we can do is basically do a small pittance of $225, $250 for a new tree, and they're like, that's worth it, and you lost thousands of dollars of value of that tree and the shade and the economic benefits. And so that's what we're trying to kind of fight against with this, is making sure that if a contractor, seems to be a bigger issue with contractors, so if a contractor does it, that we do have something in our code and ordinances that allows us to say, hey, you drop down a 21-inch diameter tree, this is how much it's going to cost you because you did that. We can use it, again, for residents, but we won't take it down ourselves. So if you take down that type of tree, that's thousands of dollars, and then you'll pay a fee on top of that. And we're hoping that's what will keep people from doing that.
They do have a different fee structure for maybe contractors versus residents would be interesting. I wouldn't.
But they're taking those trees down on behalf of the resident who owns the property.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so we'd find, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we also talked about, Whitney, that you would incorporate a procedure into your application process so that we are able to alert the contractor and the homeowner that these trees, why don't you
Yes.
talk about that?
So, yeah, so one of the examples we had is a developer came in, was redoing the site, marked trees on the property that were to be removed, and did not properly mark the one that was in the public right-of-way, so we didn't, yeah. So we have to, we'll look at those. We did have a resident who just decided, well, I'm going to take down these 2 trees in front of my house near my driveway. And they were very apologetic. They didn't realize it, so they were willing to pay the fine. But the contractor's like, oh, well, I told him to take down those trees on my property, and he took all the trees. So it gets
Yeah,
kind of,
well-
yeah.
It's the part where you don't want people, it allows a way for people to see the value of the tree, that a tree just isn't a thing
Correct.
we should cut down, especially those gorgeous
Especially when
trees.
it's not on your property, yes.
Yeah, especially the gorgeous trees, but also if there is a tree that is causing problems with your sidewalk or your property, to have a way to be like, all right,
Let's analyze that. We can,
Yeah.
we would always work with the Public Works Department, Arborist, and Parks Department to determine the value and health of that tree, because I think one is like, well, it's, dying anyway, so, can you forgive me? And
yeah, that also the like balance between ignorance, which isn't necessarily something we want to reward, like we'd like to limit that, but also you don't want to.
yes.
I mean, I don't see the fine being $5,000 or something if the tree. There's a few of those really giant ones. like-
Yeah.
So I guess I would support some sort of cap on it too at this point, to be like up to X amount. I don't know what that amount is, but
Yeah, it'd be hard to know based upon what tree is being, because we're basing it off of the diameter of the tree.
yeah, because there's a few that are really giant. If they were to come down, it'd be a big loss, I think, but it would also be a very expensive fine
Yeah.
if someone took that down.
Right.
But yeah, so this is
So
a
I
fine
think
on
they,
top of them cutting
yeah,
it down.
well, it's like if, the idea is they need to get our approval first, and then we would tell them, okay, well, that's a very large tree, that's gonna be $3,000, and you have to pay to have it removed, even if we say it's okay to even remove it. Hopefully, then that would give pause to someone.
Yeah, 'cause I know there's like a few trees that are looking a little sad these days, and I'm sure they're on the list eventually, but there's also I'm hearing some neighbors talk about with all the storms and damages of falling tree limbs. I'm not sure people are aware whose trees whose, so
Right.
sounds like there's a few people talking about taking down some gorgeous trees, but also, I mean, you can only want so many branches on your roof before you're like, I like my roof.
Yeah.
Also, go ahead.
I was just going to ask out of curiosity, is there a time where we allow for trees to come down? And if so, can you give some examples of those instances?
When it's in the public right-of-way, or
Yeah.
just in general?
Either or.
Okay. If it's well, Eric can address the trees in the public right-of-way.
Yeah, so the trees in public right-of-way, again, will only bring down if they're diseased or dying. And that's our urban forester will go and take a look at those. We do preventive maintenance by ward by year. So once every 4 years, he takes a look at every tree within a ward. Doesn't mean that he won't see trees throughout the other wards, because as we get phone calls, as he's driving around, watering and doing other things, he'll be like, okay, let me look at this tree. So that's the only time we'll actually bring down trees if they're diseased or dying. As far as homeowner trees, I'll let Whitney talk about that. But the one thing I will say is a few years ago, we talked about maybe another ordinance that talked about residents bringing like a whole sort of fee structure for trees in the whole city. At the time, the Public Works Department was like, we don't feel comfortable telling people what they can do on their own property, which is understandable. There are some cities that do that, Clayton, Webster. They do have an ordinance that says if you bring down a healthy tree, you have to plant enough of the same diameter within that property. It's great, but again, at the time, the Public Works Department really thought that residents have that right. So this is a way to kind of really protect and be on the lookout for those trees in the right of way.
We do get complaints of trees on private property, one neighbor concerned about another's tree. We do call on our arborist to go have a look. If he does say that it's diseased or dying and that it needs to come down, then we send a public code enforcement letter to them to have it removed. If he says that it's not, it's healthy, it's naturally losing a limb, that's normal, then there's nothing that we can do to that. A large discussion, again, the public discussion was, because of the small lots, it's hard to, if you have a healthy, large tree, adding that back onto the property could be difficult. So that's, I think, where the board left it at that point too, yeah.
All right, so I'm looking at the ordinance, or the bill, and I see under Section 1, Part A and Part B, and then we've got this table. So I'm trying to, how is this incorporated into our code, and how does somebody look at that may be making this decision and knows, I don't understand this table at all. I mean, how do you know what they're facing dollar-wise as far as if they're thinking about taking down a tree, getting permission, paying the fee?
Yeah, so we would have, we could have per Exhibit B and include that in our code as an attachment, and the draft diameter would be included in the code at that point. Similar to like with the table we have of our building permit cost. We would just have this as an attachment in our code. So, I mean,
Man, walk me through, so I see you're going to remove a tree size up to 8 inches. So you got the tree diameter. What is tree count? What does that mean?
that was if you have a tree that is 1 1/2 in diameter and you had an 8-inch tree, that would be the total number of trees. It would be 5 trees to replace that 8-inch diameter.
What does total per group mean? That's 12 is,
Yeah. I think if you had a variety, that would be the total per group, and then the total replacement of the trees would be 24 trees at $225.
oh, okay, so that's how you get to that
Yeah.
multiplier. All right.
Yeah. But we can certainly clear this up. This was just an example that MSD provided, so we could do a simpler table.
Chart is, I'm sure I can work with Whitney to try to make something a little bit easier to understand. I think we can put together something a little bit different that might be a little bit easier to read and understand and comprehend. So we can do that. If you guys agree with that, we can either bring that back next meeting in November before it goes to the board, or we bring it to the board. We can do it either way. There's no real rush on this. We just want to have something in place so that we have something covered. We have coverage if this happens in the future.
Okay. Oh, I agree with the coverage, and but let's go ahead and bring it back our next meeting.
Okay.
And one follow-up question about Section A, Section 1.A. It says tree is located in whole or in part within the right-of-way. Could we maybe define that a little bit more? Like, if a branch is in the right of way, does that become a tree in part in the right of way?
No, I think if it's on a property line, it would have to be fully on the trunk.
Okay.
Typically, under code enforcement, a person has the right to trim up to their property line in the airspace. So if there's neighbor's tree is hitting your house, or, recently the Parks Department had a tree on the roof of the building rec center. You can trim up to the property line within the airspace, but you can't go over the property line.
Okay, so this is, so the in
So if, like,
part
a
is
trunk-
is only the trunk, not like, oh, they have a root in my yard, or a root that goes under, or a branch that goes over. It's just
Right.
the trunk. Okay.
But we can certainly add clarification to that language.
Yeah, just, I'm thinking more on the branches. People are like, oh, half the tree is there, but really the whole trunk is on one side or another.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Grady.
Questions?
Nope, no, sir.
All right, let's move on to item 8B, and that would be the real estate purchase and temporary construction easement for 2828 Manderley. And I guess that's you, Dan?
Me. So there's a pathway that's between 2828 and 2832 Manderley. At one time, that pathway connected Manderley to Hilldale. It no longer connects, but there still is an asphalt pavement that serves as a trail, and that needs to come out, and there's a retaining wall. So what we're asking for, this is in particular at 2828, since the city doesn't own that little strip, that 2.5-foot wide strip, it's roughly 355 square feet. We're wanting to purchase that from the owner at 2828, and then that would allow us to fix that trail and wall, and then sell that property to the adjacent property owner at 2832 Manderley. So what we're looking for is a motion to recommend to the board to purchase that 2.5-foot wide strip, because it's half of the total, which is 5 feet, on that south side of the seller's property, which is at 2828. And then also it includes temporary construction easement for that wall.
I have a question, but
Oh, Sully, go ahead.
Yeah, Dick, can you just give, sorry if I missed it, just a little bit of background on how this came about, like what that strip is from, and then also,
The strip was dedicated back when that subdivision was platted. I guess there was, I know Eric did a survey, or, had a surveyor come out and look at various strips that the city has that were either maintained by Parks or Public Works over the years. And this is one of those strips.
okay, Eric's coming up too.
Yeah, so there's a number of areas within the city that we looked at, heck, 5 years ago at this point, where it's just like these little spots in between buildings and houses and things like that. And we're trying to figure out who owned them, where they came from, things like that. In this case, that basically there's two subdivisions, Green Meadows Part 1 and Green Meadows 2. And when Green Meadows 1 was built first, and then when they brought in the addition, they created this 5-foot easement more than anything else that was platted as a walkway, I guess we don't really know why, but it was there, and it's basically throughout most of the rest of the neighborhood, it kind of disappeared. People kind of started taking it over. This one had a pathway for some reason that had been poorly maintained, so that's why we like this really doesn't make sense to the city to have anymore. Let's dedicate it back to the proper homeowner.
Is there any reason we want to touch it up aside from how it looks? Is it causing issues, water displacement or anything like that?
I think the big issue with this one is that when we dedicated the back, the owner's like, well, I didn't put this on here. This wasn't, I didn't do this. Wasn't my doing. The city did this. So we thought it was proper to kind of bring it back to the original state, which was basically grass.
I see where he's coming from, but he bought the property with it looking that way, did he not?
Let me just, or she actually in this case, there's two property owners, and these were just pathways. They were not deeded to those parcels whatsoever. We abandoned them, and they just split off 2.5 feet to the north, 2.5 feet to the south. These are in horrible condition. They've got a retaining wall that's falling down, and I don't believe we should just be abandoning these things, dumping them on the property owner, and making them correct it. So what we're trying to do here is reverse what's been done, get it back in the public domain so that we can make the repairs, because we don't want to make repairs with public money on private land.
Yeah.
So we're trying to reverse this. We still got to work with the property owner to the south to get this back in our hands, do the repairs, and then actually the full 5 feet will go to the owner to the
28, 30,
south.
32.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I was just curious. Wanted
sure.
clarification.
I
Yeah.
know you didn't know the history because
Yeah.
this has been a lot of fun. All right, go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, my question is just about, so we're taking it from one private property over 2828, and then we're putting it to someone else. So we're making someone else's lot smaller, which could have all sorts of implication on like if
That's what they want.
the 2828 does not want to own it. Okay, so 2828 is totally they support / have granted written approval to be like they want to sell us this land.
Yes.
Well, yeah, well, they're not really selling it. We're just getting it quick claim back to us, basically.
Okay, so we're not.
The
we're not
argument
taking property
is-
from one person and giving it to another person without.
Oh, so I think what one of the owners, what happens when you do that is so your property becomes bigger and then your assessment also reflects that. And so you think you're paying more in property taxes. That person doesn't want to do that. So, and the neighbor doesn't mind accepting all of it. So ultimately, we will bring back the other side to Public Works and then to the board. Right now, the city attorney is trying to establish communication with the other 2832, and then that will come before the committee and then the board. She's willing to accept all 5 feet of it and
Okay, but
what,
2828 is completely was
absolutely.
okay.
And these pathways, at least this one, city really never owned. It was a dedication by the developer of those 2 separate, as Eric said, developments. And for whatever reason, just a pathway, I guess it was mid-block so kids could walk through or whatever. We don't really know. And instead of maintaining all these things, we're trying to give these up to the appropriate owners. We've found that really that section should not have been split equally, that the woman to the north, the homeowner to the north, I'm sorry, to the south, should have gotten the full 5 feet, and it shouldn't have been split. So once we get everything back in our hands, we're going to do the repairs and then give it back to the owner at, I think Sully, you said the address.
2832.
Yeah, deed it back to her again for the full 5 feet, right, Bola?
That's right. It's complicated.
A lot of gyrations to get this accomplished. So, any other? Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Motion to recommend the Board of Aldermen purchase the 2.5 wide strip of land on the south side of the seller's property at 2828 Manderley Drive.
Quick. Oh, I'll second, but I have a question afterwards. Quick question. Can you remind me exactly? We're not paying a lot for this, right? It's
$100.
$100. Okay. Second then.
the only other thing I had was Bola on Exhibit B of the temporary construction easement. The first sentence says a strip of land 5 feet wide. Could you check with Jim and see if that's supposed to be 2.5?
Sure. Probably 2.5. That's a good catch. Thank you.
So, all right, we have a motion. Let's do a roll call on this. Octavia?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, that takes us to our second citizen comment. I see no one here. How about online? No one's online?
No one online.
All right, thank you. No further business. I'd say we're adjourned.